Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I want to thank everybody for coming. We're going to do things a little bit different. As opposed to things that you're seeing in the world, we're going to try to make sense.
Every human has a story, a legacy, a start, a middle, and an end. Stories can tell facts, stories can tell fiction. Some stories take twists and turns that we don't suspect. Stories don't always have a happy ending. But stories aren't bound to books, and our tales can intertwine. Your story can collide with someone else's story, shaping their future, changing their life. With your help, Penny Appeal are changing the stories of millions of people in over 30 countries around the world. Penny Appeal's story has one simple ethos: using your small change to make a big difference. What will your story be? What will our story be?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum to everyone out there and throughout the universe. My name is Dustin Cron. I'm the founder of the Center for Global Muslim Life. It's really a blessing to have you all with us today. We're here to talk about Love Supreme, Preacher Moss's beautiful new film that we just premiered. We just had the world premiere for. And we wanted to start by first thanking our sponsors, to Penny Appeal and to the American Muslim Fund and to Amana Mutual Funds. Thank you for your support of this festival. And it couldn't have happened without you. And so today is also a day, what they're calling a day of rage. There's programs happening right now on Isla LA. There's a live program happening with the Lighthouse Mosque in Oakland. We know there's programs happening all around the country. Moses the Comic has a really beautiful lineup tonight that includes Preacher Moss. So we recommend you all tune in all day, and including this film. And if you haven't seen the film yet, A Love Supreme, it's on our YouTube page, the Center for Global Muslim Life YouTube. You'll find it streaming. It'll be up until Sunday night. So alhamdulillah, we're really honored to have it. And we wanted to start, I'm based in San Diego right now, even though we as Global Muslim Life are all over the world, and we have team members all over the world. We have to start by recognizing whose land this is that we stand on, the Kumeyaay tribe. It's really important that we think about in this moment the intersection of all the race and madness and colonization that this country is founded on. And so we wanted to start with that. And now we're gonna bring in our brother Preacher Moss and our sister Nia Malika Dixon to the set. And thank you all for joining us today. And Preach, we wanted to say how beautiful this film is. And Nia, I know you wanted to start with some words.
I just want to say thank you. Alhamdulillah, just seeing the film, it's amazing. And as the producer, I just want to say thank you and how proud I am of Preacher, and the production looks amazing. I'm just happy to be here.
I'm good. Well put. Well put. I am. You said where am I, man? I'm just in a very heightened state. I feel really good. When we shot the film, you know, so many things came together that just normally, if they didn't come there, the film does not come off. And what it was just people's spirit, the people behind the screen, the scenes, the people on the cameras, the theater. I mean, everything down to Nia's daughter. Everybody just pitched in, and it was this family project, you know. And it just, all praises due to Allah, as subhanAllah, it just came together, and it just became this thing that was so much not about us, but it was about this whole idea of Love Supreme and anatomy of gratitude, just being able to give thanks, man. So, and let me thank you too, Dustin. A lot of people are watching this. They don't realize that entries had closed. I just sent a blind email to Dustin. Dustin hit me back. It turns out he was actually in the audience, and he's gone through a great amount of trouble and energy to put this thing out. So I just want to say thank you to you, Brother Dustin.
No, it's really an honor to be part of the process. And like I was in the audience, that it was a hot night in the Bay Area. It was a beautiful night in the Bay Area. And but I remember how hilarious it was, just the energy of the space, because, we live in a time where there's a lot of these quote Muslim comedians that, and we won't call anyone, we won't say quotes, but Muslim comedians who aren't, as what you say at the beginning, Muslim. They're not proud of their Muslimness. And I think that, what you do here is you set a new standard for making a comedy special that's super relevant, super beautiful, and also, is all about your identity, talking about how Islam is your life. So can you just reflect, while at the same time bringing in the jazz and the drums, and so could you talk about kind of your thought process on how you built this and what you were thinking?
We actually, it was built around John Coltrane's Love Supreme, but it was built around the musical philosophy of what he did. So that, there's 4 parts to it. For anybody who wants to know, acknowledgement, Psalms, resolution. I mean, he has all these different aspects in terms of the music, and it just categorized. It was almost like pillars, 4 pillars for Love Supreme, 5 pillars for Islam. And I thought I'd be the 5th pillar, if you will. And the band it's indigenous. That's an indigenous art form. A lot of people don't realize how many people came to Islam through jazz musicians, particularly the Ahmadiyya movement back in the day, and how it just permeated, because you have musicians, African-American musicians, that would leave segregation, Jim Crow situations, go overseas and see how they were received as Black men overseas. And it was a transition. Jazz framed who I was. I grew up around jazz musicians. I learned stand-up around jazz musicians. I learned how to write around jazz musicians. And it's funny because the whole crew literally becomes like a jazz band. I want to give a shout out to Mustafa Davis and his family. They loaned him to us. He flew in from Istanbul to be my DP. Get better, brother. I know you're sick. Also on the sound, a big shout out to my man, Doug Robertson, who he broke his back to make that sound happen. And Jay Chapman, who helped me with the color correction. We had some work, but it just comes together, man. Everybody came into contact with the film, just had a certain spirit, and it just made everything better.
Yeah, maybe y'all can, and Nia, maybe you could go a bit deeper. Talk about how difficult it is to produce a live film like this. Everything can go wrong, but you had and as you joke about it in the middle of the set in the film. I was wondering if you're going to even show it, but the fire alarm went off for about 20 minutes in the middle of the set. Of all things that could happen, filming a live show. So could y'all just talk about what that was like?
Mashallah. So honestly, first of all, I just want to again say thank you to my brother for calling me in to do this, because this is the first time I've ever produced a live special. I've never produced a live special, a stand-up comedy special, and let alone bringing in a jazz band to accompany with music. That was like an extra component. But like you said, things will go wrong. And I learned that on all the productions I've ever worked on. So I kind of anticipated things to go wrong, but never did I anticipate that the fire alarm would go off. And that had a lot to do with, temperature and some special effects. But we incorporated into the production, as Mr. Preachmas so deftly did. I thought that was very great.
Yeah, you know what? When I think about Mia and I think about Mustafa Taris, who played Taris Mateen on bass, and Mia on drums, it was funny because when the alarm went off, they looked at me and I was like, keep playing. They could have stroked out on stage. I was like, keep playing, we'll be right back. But there's a great story, and I don't want to take too much time, but there's a great story about the jazz musician Herbie Hancock and Miles Davis, and they're playing somewhere, I think like Sweden, Stockholm or something. And it's like a magical night, just like we were doing in Pleasanton that night. It's a magical night. All the musicians are hitting, everybody's hitting their solos, they're killing it. And Herbie Hancock is lost in the moment. He plays a chord that's absolutely 100% wrong. Like, it sounds horrible. And all the musicians are like, what are you doing? And Herbie Hancock is thinking, oh my gosh, I ruined this moment before Miles Davis' solo. And Miles Davis looks up at him. He takes his horn. He plays a little something. And then he goes into his solo. And Herbie Hancock said, basically what Miles Davis did was he took his wrong note, made it right, and then just took it up. And in the end, he said, that is, that's amazing. And he asked Miles Davis about it. He said, he says basically it wasn't a wrong note. It was just unexpected. And I think that was the beauty of the film, man. That was like live jazz at its best. Nothing was wrong. It's just unexpected. And that really, and I have to thank Nia, because there's so much that happened on stage that we couldn't predict. There's no QC or anything like that. This is it. We got one shot, and one shot to get it right. You can't go cut, go back. We didn't even cue the audience. Like the audience didn't know what was going on. They were like, first time. It's like they're seeing it. It's like live TV, live performance. It's not canned. No applause, stand up. None of that. It was like we're gonna play. We're gonna start from ground zero and build this thing. And that was what the whole spirit of the movie and the team was, starting from ground zero and just continuing to build. And Love Supreme is like, hey man, not me a gratitude. I'm always gonna be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whatever happened. But for whatever happened, it happened well, and we caught it on film, and we're talking about it right now.
And honestly, I want to add to what you said earlier about music. A lot of people came to Islam through music, and me growing up Muslim my entire life, that's all I knew. Music has always been my fuel for everything creative. So even when I write my scripts, I have music playing, jazz, R&B, rock, hip hop, and I've always had music ever since I can remember. There's never been a moment as a Muslim, as a Black Muslim in America, that I've not had any music.
Yeah. Likewise, I'm that way.
Yeah, I wanted to remind the audience out there that you can ask questions on whatever social media channel you're following this on about the film. And so within that, I think there's so many places we can go here, right? One layer is the film, the other is jazz. So why don't we keep going down that jazz path? Because I think that it's so deep that you take from John Coltrane in this what's considered this masterpiece of jazz. What many people may not know, his love letter to God, right? Yes. So can you talk about, you're talking about your anatomy of gratitude, but a love supreme. Can you just talk about, and you even tell a very personal journey here, right? You talk a lot about your conversion to Islam. So it's just so deep at the comedic level to be able to do that, to keep it funny the whole time. Talk about how this is your, what you're saying to Allah with this work.
Man, comedy is hard because it's beginning a road and you don't know exactly where you're going to end. You could be a superstar, or you could be, pumping gas on the New Jersey Turnpike, and you have to constantly believe that this is what you're going to do. And the idea of Coltrane, a lot of people don't know, in the 50s and the 60s, there was always a rumor that John Coltrane was Muslim, but it was true. His wife was Muslim. McCoy Tyner, who played drums, was Muslim. Train was Muslim. What's really, really interesting is the original name of this album was not Love Supreme. A lot of people don't know that. The original name of the album was supposed to be called Allah Supreme. And when they took it into the record producers, they were like, absolutely no way. We're not going to put that on a record. We'll never sell it. So the compromise was Love Supreme. Imagine if that record came out, Allah Supreme, and it had the quality and scope in it. I mean, where would we be? I mean, that was just a groundbreaking record. And even during the show, when I did the chant, just like they did it on the album, people went from Love Supreme to Allah Supreme without help. And I'll give you a crazy story. I was at Dave Chappelle's Mark Twain Awards, and they were having an after party. And I don't know how it happened. Mos Def, Yasin Bey got up on stage he and Erykah Badu, and they got into Love Supreme. And you know what they did? They went from Love Supreme to Allah Supreme. I was like, that is a superior piece of music. That is a superior piece of spiritual music. And I just wanted to do it justice, man. I mean, that
And I think you did. Like, you put your heart all in that, and to quote my grandmother, you put your foot in that. So, alhamdulillah. Yeah.
You just want to. You're not going to make another Love Supreme, but you want to be on that road where you want to at least say, hey, listen, I went for it. I saw some type of greatness that inspired me, and I'm trying to go that direction. I don't know where I'm going to wind up, but I want to go that direction. Win, play, show, fail, succeed. I mean, that was the whole thing. I mean, we left the stage, like we left everything on the stage, which was just amazing thing. I mean, we had elders in the front row. My mom was there. Dr. Yvonne Sion was there. Dave Chappelle's mom was there, and his sister. A lot of people don't even know that. But they flew out. I mean,
they made dua with us.
They made dua with us. She's 80 years old getting on the plane because she believed in it, and that's the type of things that drive you. I mean, that piece about being a Muslim is real. Nobody wants a weak Muslim, a soft Muslim, a moist Muslim. You want that, and that's what I grew up with. I tried to make the most masculine Muslim film I could make. And still have it accessible for sisters, because sisters are going to be sisters. But you're going to be a man on stage, and that's what it comes down to. Even with the band, nobody can be weak. And we're just very, very pleased we're able to have me in that position, because I also realize how hard it is for sisters, particularly Black women, to get into those positions and put that on their resume. And I'm like, well, let's do it.
Yes, sir. I was saying, you set such a great example, brother. Like, you are the blueprint now. So anytime a young Black Muslim brother who's a comic wants to do a special that incorporates music, you are the blueprint that they're going to look at and say, oh, yes, Brother Peach Moss did it this way, and it really worked out. Let's do that too. So, yes.
It's a mercy, man. And I still can consider it. This is something you want to get to the community. It's like, hey, listen, this is from you. Like, you don't have to run people out of the room, put fingers in the ears. This is the height or the best I could give you as an example of a service piece, a praise piece, a music piece, a comic piece, a family piece, a halal piece. And hopefully, inshallah, it gives you peace. That's what I was thinking.
Alhamdulillah.
No, and you're an originator of the space. You're one of the first, people that you've grown the Muslim comedy space, right? You've done so much for the industry itself, and I think that now here you come back with this amazing special. So I really hope everyone checks it out. Nia, did you want to ask any more questions about what or talk more about the filmmaking process, or did you want to focus specifically on the comedic parts?
Well, what I did want to add is that it's very important for the next generation of filmmakers to see this, because there aren't any people setting the standard right now. I started a free screenwriting workshop for Black Muslim women, because when I went to try to find community of other Black Muslim women in the film community, there's like 3 of us. So I thought, hey, let's pull these people who actually want to do this and help them, to show them this is how it's done, so they don't feel hesitant, but also to set the example that in the Muslim community, we value arts. We value arts very greatly.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, Dustin, is our art, it's not hokey. Like, we can put together a very professional presentation, everything. Sometimes artists think Muslim art or Muslim productions, they think of the lowest quality. I'm like, no, we're not trying to give you that. We're going to give you great production. We're going to give you great entertainment, great content. And that's what we really shop for.
And culturally rooted in your own worldview, right? That's the key here, that you're not going to say we have to be Westernized Muslims to get our content out, right? We're going to be ourselves as you're going to be yourselves as Black Muslims. We're going to tell our story, like you said, authentically having a very masculine piece of comedy. Can you talk, mashallah, right? And so can you talk, the other thing that we haven't talked about yet is that you were improvising with the jazz much of the special?
All of the special. We couldn't rehearse. It's basically the concept was what if you had a jazz record label and you got enough money to get them to shoot a comedy special? What would it look like? And Nia remembers this conversation. And it would be Leon Alexander Jr. on drums, Taurus Mateen on bass, and tonight on comedy we have Preacher Moss. And the idea was it's going to be free flowing, much the same as Love Supreme was recorded at Gilder Studios. It was free forming, and what you had to do was be secure, and you had to trust the movement of the other people. So there's a lot of trust that happens on stage. I mean, the thing that we could only rehearse was the which I wrote. And I'm like, Taurus, you have to put this in your computer, but we have to find the things that link. And that was the importance of being able to let the band play, because they came in on some of my stuff. I came in on some of their stuff. And it was improv. Like most comedy specials has a set list, this bit, this bit, this bit, this bit, this bit, and it's all linear. I'm like, no, man, with jazz is not linear, it's non-linear. So I have concepts, and within the concept, like a frame of music, it has a bar, and you have the key, that's, the key of G, which all right. Key G means that whatever you play, when you get the F, it can't be F, it has to be F sharp. Musical rules, if you will. But as long as you know the musical rules, inside that bar, you can play whatever you want to. And that's what we were doing. So it was improv. It was, I had material, but you had to fit it in and make sure that it flowed right. And you also had to look at the audience, make sure that they were coming into the fold, that they felt a part of the production, not so much just the audience. So yeah, there was a lot to it.
And it was a very multicultural audience at that. When you're speaking to Muslim audiences, as the title of your festival says, it's global. So you have to incorporate the understanding that everybody's culture is just a little bit different. However, everybody figures out where they fall on the spectrum with regard to being Muslim, listening to the set piece, listening to his jokes. They laugh where they fit in. And I know I found myself laughing a lot.
Yeah, me too. And like you said, I think that it's the Bay Area also, right? So it's so diverse, it's so beautiful. But then the common thread in that room is Islam. And if the folk in the room may not be Muslim, then the common thread is Blackness, right?
Which is really important right now, man. It's really important right now. We got protests all over the world, and I'm very careful.
Very important.
Yeah, I'm very careful. I look at things. I'm like, are you really appreciating this, or is this, is Black pain like a flavor of the month right now? Are you really going to go with this? And when the cameras aren't there, are you really going to be there for the community? That's the way I've always looked at comedy. When people start laughing, what did you leave them? What piece of information, what little piece of inspiration did you leave the people? And particularly now, I just watched this upstairs with my daughter, and we shot it a little while ago. I'm like, how relevant is this thing still right now? Nia?
It's still relevant. It's still relevant. And as I was telling Dustin earlier, Black joy is so important. It's just as important as acknowledging the pain. And if you don't acknowledge that we also have joy, then we'll all be sad and miserable. And that's not the way God intended us to be.
Yeah, we're not. We're not that kind of people. That's not our destination. Because if there's no joy in your life, there's no gratitude. I know how to make gratitude.
No, and today may be this idea of a day of rage, and we talked about maybe moving the special, but you said no, because like you said, it fits perfectly with everything happening in this moment. Even you have that piece about Donald Trump and E flat, that all he's doing is regurgitating the same toxic nonsense.
Floor at 2:00.
Every day is 2:00. And just a side story, the way we used to get that kid to stop that, we fixed the clock. So basically, it was 10 minutes at 11:50 or 1:50. He didn't know that it was already 2 o'clock. We would get him out. That's how that was the way we solved it.
That's perfect.
Yeah, improv. You got to be thinking that, because every day after work, you don't want to be mopping up after this kid. But to audience that's out there, I think this was almost like it was an opus. It was like a last will and testament. In comedy, when you do shows, you'll do a special and you kill off your act to go do another act to start another one. I'm like, I really wanted something to resonate. Like, if this was going to be the last night, this is what I wanted to be. And we were able to do that. And I tell you, Dustin, again, I want to thank you for putting this up. There are people from my masjids that may have never even bothered to come, and they were like, now they're part of a film festival, and it's so much. So it's an imperative to get everybody just to do different things and experience different things, and wherever this goes in the world, people are gonna be able to see. Think about this: people will be able to see African Americans strong, not racked by pain and trauma, which was another reason why I wanted to make sure we got it out, because you don't want people to think that this is how we live. People need to know that we win, we survive, we have challenges, but we thrive, and ultimately we win a lot of times. So I'm winning.
That's right.
What else? I'm winning. Hopefully you're winning too. Dustin, you're winning too.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, no, like I said, it was an honor. And when I received, your call, I was like, of course, I want to feature it. It's an amazing, beautiful film. And I think that even the spirit of it, right? So much comedy can kind of be, it can be nasty a bit. And again, I think what we're trying to feature in this film festival is really the beautiful stories of Muslims, the beautiful Muslims around the world. And I think we've done a great job with that. And that's why your film fits so perfectly.
Well, I thank you, man. I absolutely, I thank you again.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you all. And so, Sohail Dalatsai, he had an amazing exhibit in Los Angeles a few years back called Return of the Mecca. And there's still a book for it that people can get online. And it has that amazing history of jazz musicians who were Muslims, and all the different jazz art covers and things like that. And he has a term that he uses called the Muslim International. That's this intersection of kind of Black internationalism, Black culture, and Muslim life. And I think that this film is one of the best examples of that I've ever seen. So mashallah, and can you talk a little bit more about the personal part of this, right? I think that you're very open about your journey, and it was hilarious. And not only that, I think this is a moment where within you talking about your shahada, you also talk about anti-Black racism within the Muslim community, and talk about the stories that the Muslims want you to tell. So could you reflect on some of that in this moment where people are beginning, hopefully, to have some of those conversations?
What was interesting, man? I made a choice to talk about the Nation of Islam early, because I don't think people understand that in the Black community, it wasn't this fluidity. We had to get to a certain point, and I wanted people to be able to appreciate that. And talking about my conversion was interesting because when I don't know where it came from, but a lot of times when you're Black and Muslim, you convert. It says a sign on, there's a sign on your back or something, or your chest that says, "I don't know anything about God. Please tell me. Fill in space here." And I think the other thing is, and maybe Nia could speak to this, but sometimes it's that space whereby folks don't think that as a Muslim you're self-actualized. You don't understand the importance of your own agency. And if they feel that way, it's like people are in a rush to do that.
I can add to that.
It's just a situation so much where people want to explain to you who you are as a Black Muslim because you have the name Islam. They wouldn't do it to a Black person but a black Muslim somehow has that license for people. I'm like, dude, you're not even, you know, I had a guy come up to me, let me tell you about marriage. I've been married 5 times. You're the last person I want to listen to.
Honestly, I'm going to say that my observation is that that attitude is rooted in white supremacy here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Anti-Black racism stems from the history of slavery. And when you engage with a Black Muslim here in America, that sense of agency isn't immediately understood because we're seen through this lens of we've just been recently liberated from slavery, if that makes any sense.
Well, I think the other thing is, there's a thing, particularly in our community, and I'm speaking more about it, like charity organizations, nonprofits, they don't totally understand that we're not charity.
Right.
You know, I may work, I'm not charity. I'm not the cause that you pursue. You're not funding me. I have an entire history if you bother to look at it, because my history is beyond me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I recently said on a podcast, some of my immigrant brothers and sisters who I love, I said, we have to understand that you didn't come here due to your ethic. You were able to stay here and build due to your ethic, but you didn't come here due to your. And if you want to look at it as like African Americans, Native Americans are like, they're not even rewarded for their ethic.
Right.
So I don't want to hear these things. You know, I remember, well, we talked about this, but I was telling somebody about this, and they were like, oh man, that'll never be a Netflix special. And I was like, dude, who said I wanted to make it for Netflix? I was like, I'm gonna make this joint. It's totally. I said, this is better than Netflix. I was like,
You know, that goes back to that.
I said they can't see it. You know,
it's a pick me mentality because it's a perception that you need to be picked and told that you're acceptable. We can honor you. But from my experience in my culture and my family as Black people in America, we've never been looking for any validation from anybody. You know, my mother's college educated. I'm college educated. We're both educators. We don't really need you to teach us. So, but that whole perception of, oh, like you said, you're a charity case, we need to help you. That's the assumption that they make. It's all built in this whole perception.
I think that, and I think with the whole thing of white supremacy, even in the Muslim community, you know, it's this whole scope that Black existence, or Black Muslim existence, in this case, is framed around your permission. I need your permission. I need your permission to do this. I need your permission to do that. And that's not where we come from. I mean, I remember someone literally almost asking, are you going to ask me for my permission when I wanted to do Allah Made Me Funny? I'm like, no, dude, I'm just informing you as a courtesy. I'm not asking you permission. And, you know, Love Supreme, it took a while to make, you know, just getting the material, the ideas and the function and the date. But, you know, I mean, literally when I look at it now, it's almost like you're looking at it from a third person view, like, wow, this is happening, or wow, we did it. And I'm like, that's the spirit. That's the way you're supposed to come out of it. You muted.
I think this is actually the perfect time for it to come out.
I think so. Right? Allah knows best, man.
No, because especially a lot of these masjids, the immigrant majority masajid, they're beginning to sort of have this conversation around race. And there's this idea that, oh, we're good because we're people of color too. And it's like, no, you're people of color who decided to live in the suburbs, generally speaking, build your masjids in the suburbs, sent your children to white majority schools, were institutionalized at those schools ideologically, never took a Black studies class, never took an ethnic studies course in college. And now your masjid is just abracadabra, all good because you have a Malcolm X program, maybe once a year. And so I feel like this moment right now, you know, and I say this as someone, alhamdulillah, who's worked 20 years of my life, as graduate degrees in ethnic studies as a white person whose door to Islam was through Malcolm. And I take that very seriously. Even doing what we're doing with this is programming, a global set of programming with the idea of global internationalist solidarity. But that can't happen if we have anti-Black racism within our institutions, which we do foundationally. So long story short, this speech was to say, this special should play at masajid around the country. You should create, we should create a curriculum guide with it to create conversations, and you should just blast it out everywhere. And whatever I can do to help with that, I'm at your service, brother.
Appreciate you, sir.
And I'm going to say, yes, sir. I agree with everything you just said.
Alhamdulillah. No, and related to that, there's a question actually where someone's asking, can we buy the DVD somewhere yet? They need it. It would be great to have this discussion on the features. So let's talk about how you're going to distribute this after the festival.
I'm hoping to actually tour it a little bit. That was the original idea, to take it around, tour. I mean, I'm a teacher by trade. And I will do something, whether it's another release or something like that. But I want people to have the feeling that we have, inshallah, once the COVID goes away, to be able to sit and enjoy the energy from other people. Even if it's in a virtual situation and we do a virtual movie tour or something like that. But brother, Muhammad, if you're still there, we will definitely have something out in the next, I want to say maybe 4 to 5 months. So please bear with us, inshallah.
I want to add to that, that whole energy of having everybody together and reacting to the performance is just priceless. And to have us do a screening online and have people chat and talk about it is the second best thing. So if you want to do this again, let's do it again. I'm down for it.
Yeah, I think we just have to get it everywhere. But I think this is a good start. But like you said, nothing compares to the energy of that night and the energy of being with you and with your heart and with the beauty that you represent. So, yeah, I think that's. You do want to talk a little bit about what you both have going on right now, things that people should be looking out for. I know Preacher doing this daily call out show where people can find you every day.
Yeah, the shout out. I'm getting ready to jump on after we get out. We finish. I was so excited, brother. I moved my show just to be on, man. I was like, people, I'm sorry. Dustin has sacrificed. I'll see you later.
I love that show.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Yes. I'm coming out with other things. I'm going to get back to teaching. So I'm going to be doing comedy writing, but I want people to know when I do comedy writing, it's not like, Joe, I really teach you the skill of writing so that you're able to use comedy as a pathway to be able to write dramatic, write for news, write for resumes, write for ad campaigns, PR, all that type of stuff. And still be able to put humor in it.
I want to sign up for that class.
Yeah, where can we find that class?
I'm going to put it on Instagram. Look, I see how quickly I said that. Instagram. I'm 53 years old. You know what I mean? 53-year-olds use Instagram? Me. No, I'm going to be putting it out, and I will be putting out my comedy CD, Confessions of a Muslim Comedian.
Nice.
So
we're prepping for the third year of the BMG Fly Fest. It's a film festival that is designated as a platform for Black Muslim people who are in the film and television industry. And inshallah, maybe we can get Love Supreme to screen at this year's festival.
You got it.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And then along with that, like I said earlier, as an educator, I love teaching, and I'm currently teaching Black Muslim women who are interested in learning professional storytelling. I'm doing screenwriting courses online for the next 4 weeks, and I'm giving a round of that after that's over, and it's free. So follow me on Twitter if you want to know when the next session will start. And my Twitter handle is Nia Malika Dixon.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you all so much. Again, Preacher, is there anything else that you wanted to add? That just everyone share this and blast it everywhere. And you have, like I said, you have about a little more than 48 hours to watch it. So everyone share it with your friends now.
I just want to say, people, thank you, man. There's a brother on here in the comment section, Brother Sajid Varda over in the UK in London, and a shout out to his family. Love Supreme is that travel, that journey that takes you around to, you get to see other family. You get to, his mom is like my mom. Like he gets scolded, I get scolded, and I don't mind, because that's just that space of community. But it's just, man, you love the community, and I don't know if people understand that, even from the film, man. You love this community that you're a part of, and you just want to see the best of it, and that nomenclature brings out the best in you, especially with stand-up. So all I can say is, man, is thank you again, bro. I appreciate you.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Sajid. I think we know each other from years and years ago.
No, you got the special.
I should have known him before the special.
Yeah.
We have to reconnect, though, because it's been a long time.
It has. Well, yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. But no, D, I just want to say thanks, man, and anything I could do for you to help you out. Nia, I'm always a phone call away. This is family. This is what people don't get to see. In all this chaos and all this mayhem, this togetherness, this unity,
and
love, and you can create beautiful things.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Sajid is saying he was there. He was there.
Yes, alhamdulillah.
And our brother Muhammad also came back with, he's still excited. They need to get the hard copies. So, mashallah, they're coming.
They're coming, brother.
I agree. We got to get this distributed in all the masjids with the curriculum.
Exactly. Muhammad, when I get it, you get one for free. That's the way I feel about you.
Hey, listen, I'm going to start here, my masjid here in LA with Masjid Islah. Imam Jihad Safir. I'm going to get on the phone with him as soon as this is done.
Yeah.
And I will call Imam Taha at the Islamic Center of San Diego.
Man, we're all connected, man. We're all
and I will call, of course, Sundiata al-Rashid at the Lighthouse Mosque, but they were at the whole Lighthouse Mosque was at the event.
Yeah, I know.
So they were there for the live thing.
Don't call Sundiata. No, I'm just
Don't call Sundiata.
I love Sundiata and Bilal International, all that crew, man. It was an amazing night, man. It's an amazing night. And this has been an amazing day, man. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, it was an amazing crew. Beautiful to see what you accomplished. So, mashallah, Allah bless you both and continued success in everything that you do. And yeah, I mean, reach out to us everywhere. The film festival is going through the rest of the weekend. We have 2 more screenings this weekend, and we have 5 weekends total. This is the 2nd. So, inshallah, we hope to have you all back and check out Nia's Film Festival. Check out Preacher Everywhere. I know you're going to be on the program tonight with our brother Moses, and we're excited for that program as well.
And we'll be ready to go, man. Thank you so much, bro.
Yeah, thank you all. And again, the film is on our YouTube page, which is the Center for Global Muslim Life YouTube. It's live now. You can watch the whole thing. You can share it with your friends. It will be gone Sunday night.
And before we go, I just want to say a special thank you to all the cast and crew, especially the crew that participated on the film set who were not Muslim, because they were troopers. Even though they didn't totally understand everything that was going on, they quickly learned, and we became a family.
Alhamdulillah. I'm sorry, I meant to shout them out too.
Oh, no apology. We're all love here.
And the mothers that came. And the mothers that came.
All right, y'all. Much love, peace and blessings. Pray for us.
Yeah, pray for everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Remember, Allah is God, keep it simple.
Happy Friday.
Ameen.
Amen.